Yeah.
The blocker for most people is how much are you going to pay me? It. And that's what most like-minded groups do. They all start thinking the same. And so if all of a sudden one person starts to complain, get in a bad mood, or this isn't working in my life, all of a sudden it impacts the rest of the group and they all become like-minded. Woe is me, playing the victim. Life sucks. It's not our fault. What the hell, right? What he said is instead, surround yourself with growth-minded people. And the big difference is the growth-minded person is not only going to be there to support you and help you when you've tripped or fallen and you need an assistance, but they're the ones that are going to be willing to have the tough conversations when you are playing smaller than yourself, when you're trying to be the victim. They're the ones that will say, hey, basically, smarten up. Why are you playing the victim on this? Get over it, get going. And those are the people I choose to have in my life surrounding me.
I think that's one of the reasons I started this podcast, so I could get to like speak to different people from across the world, hear their perspectives on things and learn from them. I love learning. Like I call myself the most productive, unproductive person because being an artist, I'm like, so I started off wanting to be an actor. And then from that, I'm like, okay, I'm not getting cast in movies. So I started writing my own scripts. And then I ended up directing and shooting my first short film. And then from
Nice.
there, so once I've done that, then I'm like, okay, I love music. Then I started making my own music. And then I'm like, okay, this is getting a bit boring. Let me get on to comedy. And then from that on, and then I started podcasts. And then I'm like always like starting different things. And I actually finished a novel just last month. Actually, this month. I
Oh,
started before.
congratulations.
Thank you. I started before the lockdown, before the whole pandemic and stuff. And then I got caught up with other stuff. And then recently I was in quarantine because I actually had COVID. So I decided to use that time to finish up the novel. And then I finally did that.
Right?
So now the next step for that is getting a publisher and things. And I'm just like, in a way, putting that off for some reason. I don't know, because I'm just like creating other stuff. I don't know. That's like a problem that I have. Like I always start off with something
So,
and
well,
then
but see, so let's put a new twist on that. Because first of all, notice where your mind goes. It's a problem I have. And so because you all of a sudden label it as a problem, that's going to just keep manifesting as a problem in your life. I never complete. I start, but I don't complete. And you're going to be hard on yourself and beat yourself up thinking it's a problem. So what I would recommend is actually celebrate that you have the awareness of who you are. I'm a great starter. My strong suit is not finishing, it's creating. I'm a creator. Now you can find someone to partner with who's the completer. So as an example, and look, people in South Africa are going, I need work. So you reach out and you say, I'm a creator. I like to start things. I'm looking for someone who's amazing at completing things that can take what I start and take it, my creativity, and put it into a complete, and follow it through. And let's do a partnership. You put in sweat equity, I'm putting in sweat equity, and we split the profits 50-50 as we complete things. Now you're working with your strengths and allowing someone else who's taking their strengths, which are complementary to yours, and you're making it work together. Here's an example. You've been doing a podcast for a year now. How many guests have you had?
this is my 30th. You're the 30th guest.
Excellent. Do you realize you've now already written a book?
Yeah.
With you could, and what's the name of your podcast?
Into the Muse.
There's a title for the book right there. See, my book, Success Left a Clue, is the title of my podcast when I was doing it. And the sole purpose I did my podcast, 104 episodes, I only interviewed 4 people, the rest were me just putting my thoughts down, is because every episode I instantly had it transcribed, put on my website, because some people like to listen, some people like to read. But now my virtual assistant, she's taken all 104 episodes, put them into categories. I've got 6 new books now.
Wow.
6 new books. because I did the speaking. It was what's on my mind, in my passion in that moment. See, you've had 30 episodes. You could turn that into 1 or 2 books easy. So you turn around and you find someone who's good at writing, and you let them listen to your podcast and write it so it looks like a book or 2, and then you publish it together, and now you've got another revenue stream that you've already created.
I like how you just like think of this on the fly.
But it's taken a lot of practice because now it's normal for me. But in the beginning, do you think I thought this? No. So creativity, my friend, creativity. Watch what that can do for you. Because now, as you're doing a podcast, you can sit there and say, and ladies and gentlemen, you know, if you like this podcast, go ahead and order my book based on my top interviews. Get the PDF version, get the Audible version, order it right from my website. And now you've got an automatic generating revenue for you. Sell it in US dollars, so it doesn't matter what your currency is doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Definitely. People should take note of this.
And this is how things get created. But see, what the blocker for most people is how much are you going to pay me?
Yeah.
See, again, let's go back to being a virtuoso. When you're a virtuoso, you're like, I'm getting in there. I don't care what I'm doing. For 2.5 years, I full on volunteered at every personal development training one of my mentors put on. 38 events a year for 2.5 years. I volunteered at my own expense. People told me I was crazy, but because I was there, I was watching his every move. I learned his mannerisms. I learned his voice tones. I learned how he moved around the stage. I was watching him. So of course, when I then got my chance to be on the stage, I already had it in my mind. I had done it 1,000 times. And now, because of that, I've been blessed to train thousands of trainers around the world. But it started with me putting in the work to learn. And one of my friends got upset at me one time. He says, you know, with how much you and Roxanne's my wife, how much you two volunteer, I hope you're getting paid a lot of money. And I looked at him and said, I get paid nothing. And he lost it. He got upset about, how dare you, that cheap bastard, blah, 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 blah. And I just let him vent.
Yeah.
And I said, why are you upset? Well, how dare you, for all the value you bring and all the good you do? And I said, let me ask you a question. I said, did you go to university? And he said, yeah. I said, how many years? And I think he said 3 years. I said, what did it cost you? He said, about $60,000, $70,000. And I went, oh, I understand why you're upset, because you spent $60,000 and spent 3 years on your education. And are you making money doing what you learned? Probably not. So you're upset that I spent 2 years and I invested in my own traveling around to learn. And now I'm making a lot of money doing what I learned. I understand why you're upset. But see, his mind could not put the two together until I bridged the gap. So people get caught up in, it's only if I have a formal education for my career. People don't look at, well, if I put sweat equity in and I learn and I even pay to learn, that's going to be worthwhile. I've now made millions of dollars because of what I learned, spending that 2.5 years watching, volunteering, giving back, being of service. And I have the lifestyle that most people wish they could have. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're good at writing and you want to do a partnership with Nick, I suggest you reach out and get a hold of him.
Thanks for that promo.
There's a public service announcement for Nick Hale.
Catch full episodes of Into the Muse on Spotify, Anchor FM, and Apple Podcasts. Into the Muse on Spotify, Anchor FM,